Alright everyone, it's time to talk about the biggest political gaffe, certainly of this electoral cycle, probably of the last, decade, and that's with Andrew Cuomo. He may have just really done some significant damage to the Democratic brand by giving such easy fodder to the Republicans. I can't imagine this is going to be good for his approval polling numbers. I can't imagine it's going to be good for the generic ballot for the Democrats. He came out. And in all honesty, to not do the fake news spin and bias thing here, he wasn't actually trying to say this, but he did say it, and that's what he's going to be judged on. He said, well, America was never really that great, and we're not going to make America great. Now, as a follow-up, he starts talking about there's inequality and stuff. Now, that's not even true. We have equality. We have structural equality within the United States. If people have as an aggregate inequality in a fiscal sense or something, it's not my fault. If anything, it's the political establishment's fault, and it takes two to tango and involved a bunch of Democrats. So that's a bunch of BS anyway. But that's the wedge issue they usually try to sell. But he came out, and he really made a mistake in the way he phrased what he was trying to say. What he was trying to say is, hey, there's inequality, and Trump won't make America great again, is what he meant to say. Instead, it looked like he was indicating that the Democrats didn't intend to try to make America great again, then necessarily drawing comparisons with Trump. They're like, oh, so basically he's saying that because Trump says make America great again, the Democrats don't want to. It's sort of like when the fake news sites take up that moniker and they're like, yeah, we're enemies of the people now, ha ha ha. They're actually using a totally negative label to describe themselves simply to mock Trump. And it doesn't work. It's like Trump derangement syndrome 101. What's happened is Trump suggests something, Trump suggests immigration reform, and the Democrats say he's a bigot for it. Then Trump says, oh, well, look at this clip of Chuck Schumer. He did this last night from 2009 saying basically what I've said. Oh, so in other words, Chuck is a fucking lying Chuck. He's a hypocrite. He does this over and over, and he keeps winning. He's using examples of the Democratic Party basically promoting the things that he himself is doing, including a majority of Democrats currently in office. Individuals that in some cases they're career politicians. They've been in there for 20 years, let's face it. This happens too often within Congress, especially within certain governors' houses. He's using examples of them saying the same things that he said on immigration, on tax reform, on unemployment, on foreign wars like proxy wars, on trade deals, everything under the sun. Constantly saying the same things, Obama and Clinton and all these others, and then he's like, well, if I'm a bigot and a horrible person, then I guess the Democrats really have problems. And then here comes Cuomo to try to soothe the problems of the Democratic Party, and he just makes a mockery of himself. This is going to be used as midterm campaign fodder against the Democrats, probably to some degree of success. In fact, Cuomo may have just sunk the ability of the Democratic Party to retake the House by doing this. You've got too many close races to at this point, basically getting towards the 11th hour of the fucking campaign. We're halfway through August right now. It's not that long until the midterms, a few months, and that's all it is. You don't have that much time, and for the rest of this month, the most vulnerable Senate Democrats aren't even campaigning, because they're not being given their normal recess. So they can go out on Sunday night, I guess, and hold a quick conference fundraiser and get their Goldman Sachs money, and then they have to be back at work the next day. And it's just really funny. That's what's happening right now. And Cuomo comes out and accidentally verifies what the Republicans have been claiming, which is basically, hey, the Democrats want to manage the slow demise of the United States. They think that we're not, literally he's saying, well, America was never really that great. Now, what he means is in the context of wealth inequality and women's rights and stuff, which, by the way, is bullshit. But, there are plenty of countries in this world with far greater degrees of wealth inequality. There are plenty of countries with far greater amounts of crime and violence. There are certainly countries that have a lot more political corruption, although the Democrats try to every single year to undo that, along with the never-Trumpers. In all of these different metrics is like gay rights and women's rights, which are perennial wedge issues. Look at certain parts of the undeveloped world if you want to find images of women and gay people and stuff being mistreated. You're not going to find much of it here in the U.S. Your mythical wage gap is a fucking joke. And I think most of the Democrats understand this. It's like there are people who actually believe that groups of millionaires and billionaires, most of which are, you know, fairly geriatric, they're really going to represent the working class of the United States. Yeah, absolutely. They care a lot about you. They care a lot about the dude who makes like $3 grand a month, you know, fixing cars. Nancy Pelosi knows exactly how he feels. Dianne Feinstein knows exactly how his life goes. Maxine Waters cares about that dude who owns the little deli down the street. No, they don't. They don't know anything about your life. They could never live your life. They don't have any clue how to live as a normal fucking person, you know, on Main Street. Hell, they barely know what it's like to be in Wall Street. Most of these people are perennial D.C. dwellers, and they just have a lifetime position within politics. Most of them are children of actual privilege, regardless, by the way, of their race or their gender. That's really how D.C. works. Cuomo comes out and says, well, America was never really that great. Okay, speak for yourself, dude. I think that that we're just fine. And I think things are getting better. When I look at the economy, yeah, it makes me more optimistic. The only thing I'm pessimistic about is all the deplatform that goes off as the Democrats and their allies try to destroy the entire tech sector and rip it apart and get it to collapse itself with censorship. That's really the only bit of pessimism right now to have in this country. I look over to Korea, that's good. I look down to Mexico, Trump's shaking hands with the Mexican president. They're hammering out a sort of a renegotiation or a replacement or something for NAFTA. Now, really, what's the problem? What problem do you people have? You think Trump is a bigot? He's saying the same things that the Democrats have been saying for years. Or at least they did back when they were being honest as a political movement. No. I think Cuomo is a gaffe master. This is like a post-Biden level of gaffe. Like, literally, you have to look at certain politicians, and they are more likely than others to say stupid shit. Now, normally it's a Biden, or it's a McConnell. One of the biggest gaffes of recent history was a Republican gaffe. It was the way Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan and these others handled the ACA, the attempt to replace it, to get rid of the ACA and replace it. Like Ryan Care was the worst. That was a major mistake that they made, and it really lowered their support and Trump's approval. Now they're recovering. You could have the same thing happen with Cuomo. He's one of the top-ranked Democrats. He's consistently in or near the top 10 in every list of likely Democratic contenders for the 2020 nomination, along with formerly Al Franken, oddly enough, who still, by the way, tweets. And it's like every time people just tweet that picture at him of him groping the sleeping reporter. So you've got two of the top Democrats that could have run knocked out. Kamala Harris, in my opinion, has knocked herself out with her identity politics embracing. Clinton cannot possibly run, not a legitimate campaign. Sanders is precluded by DNC rules now. It doesn't look like he's going to switch parties and actually run because he knows better. Biden is too old. Who's going to save your party? You're falling back on Gillibrand if you have any hope whatsoever of mounting an even half-effective campaign. And with the economy roaring ahead and unemployment at near all-time lows, and with large groups of... Look, certain minority voting blocs and the youth are beginning to abandon the Democratic Party. It's the death knell of their movement in this paradigm. They're going to have to crash and burn and restructure themselves like Bill Clinton did. The party had been clinging to the kind of campaigning it used, prior to the Reagan era. It never worked, including against Herbert Walker. They had to come out and say, well, okay, we'll get a younger, liberal, hip, sort of suave candidate going who schmoozes with the ladies. That'll be good for Gen X voters, and it kind of worked. Then, of course, that paradigm is now collapsing. It's sort of the Clinton paradigm. The Reaganite to Clinton paradigm is now dead. We're in the Trump paradigm now. The Democrats are going to have to find new strategies. And trust me, new strategy doesn't mean America was never really that great. Oh, yeah, women's rights, while ignoring fascism in other countries. It's not going to work. That sort of 90s era, low-tech campaign mode simply doesn't work anymore. And Cuomo is a symbol of what the Democrats at this point are all about. Stomping their feet and saying Trump is an evil meanie, so anything he says will do the opposite. He wants to make America great. We want it to die. Look at what Maher said about the recession. Oh, I hope the economy collapses so that Trump loses. Look at these people. They're telling you openly. They're being very transparent about what they really think about this country. That's about all. Peace out.